in a moment, but I just wanted to quickly introduce the panel. And starting to my right, Tanya Gross is the Program Director for Fashion, Culinary, and Design in the Creative Industries Division at DCASE. Welcome, Tanya. And Danny Schumann is the Program Director for Visual Art here at DCASE. Welcome. And Ivy Hall, Special Events Coordinator in Events Programming Division here at DCASE. Welcome, Ivy. And Shoni Courier, she's the Director of Performing Arts for DCASE. Welcome, Shoni. And finally, Allison Esposito, she's the Director of Cultural Grants Program here at DCASE. And welcome, Allison. Thank you guys so much for being here.
My name is Tanya Gross. I'm with the Creative Industries Division of DCASE. My team is responsible for fashion, culinary, and design programming. So we're responsible for programs like today, Creative Chicago Expo, Chicago Artist Month, Fashion Week, sidewalk sales, farmers markets for the city of Chicago, and I can go on. So I came to DCASE via a really interesting job post that was looking for someone to be responsible for fashion, culinary, design, and something called etc. So I have an interesting background in that I was a technology professional for about 15, 20 years, paid for school, working in the restaurant industry, and was a DIYer as a small business owner eventually when I sought a more creative life. So as a clothing designer, as an accessories designer, I thought that my mixed background was the perfect fit for this role, and was just really curious about the etc. part. The etc. applies just about every day, but it's really, really exciting. And it was a really lengthy process actually to be placed in the position. It's to be vetted was an almost 15-month process to get this job. So I'm very, very excited to be in this role, excited about the opportunities to develop a relatively new area, Creative Industries Division. And fun fact, I don't know, I like restoring old wooden canoes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. Okay, Dan.
I'm going to start with a fun fact, because that's a really hard one to follow. Mine is that I never expected to work for the city, and that I never expected to be a bureaucrat. And I think that may go for all of us.
Yes.
So I think we're creatives who are bureaucrats, I guess. And it's a really interesting and kind of thick problem to be in, to kind of match the creative side with the large bureaucracy that we work for. It's a big challenge, but it sharpens our teeth or something, I guess.
Yester talked about that in his keynote speech, just becoming the bureaucrat and sort of that, being uncomfortable with it, being a necessary evil to
Right,
stuff.
right. So my name is Daniel Schulman. I'm the director of the visual art programs. And instead of having a lot of little programs scattered throughout the year, we have two major ones. The exhibitions program, and you're sitting in one of our exhibitions right now, that was curated by one of our more unconventional curators, Tim Samuelson, who's the official cultural historian of Chicago. We have probably about 25 to 30,000 square feet of gallery space. So we have a very active exhibitions program and a very varied one, and I can talk more about it later. The other component of our division is the public art program, which extends the work of curators and art historians like us, who are staff members here, into the public sphere, which is very challenging and exciting, and has a great set of its own issues and challenges to work publicly. And we can come back to that too. I came to the job from mostly a museum background. I'd worked in several museums in New York. I grew up in Chicago, came back to Chicago after school in New York and working there, and worked at the Art Institute for about 11 years. And I worked here independently too as an independent curator. and started about 2 years ago.
Thank you. Ivy?
I am Ivy Hall, and my fun fact is that I've actually been crowned Princess of DCASE. But officially, my title is Special Events Coordinator in the Events Programming Division. And my division is responsible for our lakefront festivals, our permits for neighborhood festivals and sporting events, as well as the Maxwell Street Market. Personally, I am responsible for coordinating the Chicago Gospel Music Festival, the Mayor's Dr. King Interfaith Breakfast, the Chicago Kids and Kites Festival, the cooking demonstration stage at the Taste of Chicago, and the Chicago Jazz Festival Art Fair. I think I've been here the longest. I am originally from the Mayor's Office of Special Events side, so I've been here for about 10 years now. I originally was introduced to the department. I was looking in the spring of '02 to see who was performing at the Taste of Chicago and saw that they had internships. And I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. So I applied and I interned as the I was the hospitality intern for the summer of '02. And then I went on to intern with the International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions in Alexandria, Virginia. I moved back to Chicago and did a stint as a corporate catering manager. And then in 2004, they had an opening back in the office, and I was like, oh, I had so much fun, let me go back. And I've been here ever since. So basically my background is hospitality, catering, and events. And yeah, I think that's it. I have a bachelor's in tourism management, leisure studies concentration in tourism management from the University of Illinois, and a master's in integrated marketing communications from Northwestern University.
Thank you. Shoni?
Hi, my name is Shoni Courier. I'm the Director of Performing Arts here at DCASE, and I cover all the theater and dance programming, as well as our residencies for theater artists and dance artists. So what that means is we present theater and dance in various locations, both here in the Cultural Center. We also cover the Storefront Theater, which is a 99-seat black box across the street. I also work in Pritzker Pavilion. Usually in the winter, we shut the huge glass doors and the audience sits on the stage, and it's a beautiful venue for dance. You're looking out at, the Art Institute way in the distance. And we also work all over the city, often with the Park District, with the public libraries, with various cultural partners, to bring theater and dance, as well as really all sorts of arts programming all around the city. So that is kind of what I do in a nutshell. And my fun fact, on the way to the train this morning, I fibbed to a yoga studio so they would let me use their bathroom.
Hi everyone, how are you? I'm Allison Esposito. I'm the director of the grants program here. I've been here for about 2 years, and essentially I have a really varied background. I was an attorney for a while. I had a pretty extensive career as a programmer, sort of in the IT world, and I'm also a dancer, and I have my own nonprofit dance organization that will be celebrating its 10th year anniversary here in Chicago next season. So I have this weird amalgamation of things, and when I saw this job opportunity, it was the perfect coming together of all of that stuff. I was really hired to restructure the grants program for the first time in 3 decades, to think about the incorporation of technology for the first time into what was a really paper-heavy process, and to think through changing and shifting the grants programs to really respond to all of the feedback that DCASE heard during the cultural planning process in 2012. So it's been very challenging, very exciting, and I feel like I have a bunch more work to do. My fun fact, I'm still dancing, and I'm actually going to make a plug that I have a show in 2 weeks with getting on stage with people that are definitely 15 years younger than I am. So I think this might be my last one, and that's my nervous fact at the moment.
Thanks, Allison. I mean, if there's ever an event for plugs, it's the Creative Chicago Expo, I think. It's all about resource sharing, people, so plug away. So.